Hello, my friends. Welcome. Love some of you have hats on and scarves on. Wonderful. I forgot mine, but I may run out and get it to put on. So I wanted to let you know as we're getting started too that we plan to have our meeting next Monday. We're just going to continue on through. It seems really vital to me right now that we have this time of connection and replenishment and renewal because of how it is out there right now. So how it is out there may be reflected some by how it is in here. So today, I also wanted to remind us that our purpose, the purpose of all of our work is to reveal essence, who each of us is at our core so that we can express who we are in the world in a way that really adds to the celebration and the connection for all of us. And that we're practicing moving from fear to love through presence. And that in fact, presence, in my experience, is the operational definition of love. Because for me, love is to be willing to be in the same space with. And when I'm present and I can be with something, then a connection starts to form and some new kinds of collaborations can form. So that's what we're going to be up to, continuing to be up to. And today, what popped up in my Facebook was a quote that I want to read to you in a moment. But how I would like you to begin is something I've been thinking about and playing with this morning, is to imagine that you have your feet in, or as much of you as you want to, into your own personal love pool. And because I want to read you a quote about water. So just a little reminder that we're 80% water, give or take a few percentage points, and that our association with water, for me, water is such a great symbol for how we can use our attention. So as you're forming your love pool, I'd like you to first, kind of stick your feet in and let yourself have just the right temperature of water. Because I think each of us, when we tune in, there's a temperature that is that allows you to release and to let go, but to also feel like the roots of your own personal tree, and that you can absorb the warmth up through your whole body. So let yourself be surrounded by the water that's in just the right temperature, and it might have a special color. Because I was remembering when I was a child, we used to go to the Great Lakes in the summertime, and I could paddle in the water. I could basically walk on my arms and let my legs trail out behind, looking down into the water. And it was so clear that I could see little pebbles and shells that were on the bottom of the water, and the feeling of that and the color of a kind of a sky blue, but with a little bit of green in it. So let the water be just the kind of color that most refreshes you. And then I'd like you to let yourself put into your pool anything that represents love for you. So it could be a memory of being with someone that you really care for. It could be the way that a friend looks at you that makes you feel so loved. So I want you to put all of those things into your pool. This is like when you get into the tub when you're a kid and you bring all of your toys in with you. Bring all your love toys into your pool. And I'd like you to be enjoying the flow, the feeling of your feet in the water, or your knees, or you could actually be sort of in a little walk-in tub right now that you've created around yourself. And I'd like you to be tuning into that while I read you this quote from William James, who was really, some people consider, one of the founders of modern psychology. He was a big thinker. I am done with great things and big plans, great institutions and big successes. I am for those tiny, invisible, loving human forces that work from individual to individual, creeping through the crannies of the world like so many rootlets, or like the capillary oozing of water, yet which, if given time, will rend the hardest monuments of human pride. So the power of water for me can let your, one of the things I like to do in my little pool too is I like to wiggle my toes and make little waves in the water, because that has a great feeling to me. So you can do that too, get a little wiggle going. For me, attention is really like water. It is malleable. It can move everywhere in the world. It's basically irresistible. And so I'd like you to be letting the power of your own attention have that kind of irresistibleness, to let it be irresistible to you, and as you let it move around you to others. And so I'd like you to let yourself like scoop up from your love pool. And I'd like you to first give some loving attention to your thoughts. So I'm imagining that in the last period of time, you've been having thoughts, and like I've been having worry thoughts and depressed thoughts and fighty, want to kill him thoughts. So I'm giving loving attention to my thoughts, so I can let the power of my loving attention begin to create space in my thoughts. And I'd like to have you notice what kind of thoughts you have and let the power of your attention replace all that with the spaciousness of presence. So just first being with your thoughts. And if you need to scoop up some more, so this is your love scoops. If you need to scoop up some more and splash it or spritz it, I particularly like spritzing because I'm not forcing my thoughts to change. I'm really just kind of giving them a little nourishment so they can begin to shift. And for me, what's such a much better idea than worrying is wondering. So I want you to shift your thoughts, those worry thoughts, into wondering about, how can I give myself love in a new way today? How can I express love in my thoughts to myself? How can I replace a critical thought right now with a loving thought? And a loving thought can start with appreciation. So you could take a moment to appreciate yourself for being here today and practicing giving yourself loving attention. So we can give loving attention to our thoughts. And then I'd like you to let yourself shift to giving loving attention to your feelings. So as you're letting the love move up through your body from your pool, like those roots moving up through your body, you may be encountering some feelings. So anger, sadness, fear, sexual feelings, joy, disgust. Just notice what your feelings are. And then I'd like you to give some of the nourishment of your love pool to your feelings. So you might be sensing your feelings, like for sure, give some loving attention to your heart. So scooping up and giving loving attention to your heart, and scooping up and giving loving attention to the back of your back, which is also your heart. And letting that land, letting yourself receive that love. For me, as I do that, I feel kind of settling. I feel it expanding outward, like my prune turns back into a grape. gets more filled with juiciness rather than all shriveled up. So any little shriveled places in you, you can give them spritzing or a whole shower of loving attention. Our feelings get held in our body until we turn toward them and give them loving attention. So notice if there's any other place in your body that's calling to you. It's going, me, give some loving attention to me. I'm feeling, ugh. So it may not be even something that you can name. So notice that if there are any feelings, sensations in you that your body would like some attention, let yourself love scoop and let it land. So if you're letting a shower come over, let yourself really feel that. If you're letting a wave come, let yourself receive that. What I'm noticing also is that I'm bringing breath along with my attention. And so that allows me to bring the space inside that I feel in my lungs to the space anywhere in my body that's wanting some more attention. And again, I'm feeling my feet are going, oh, I want to wiggle now. I want to have some little splashy in the water. So if you're getting a sense from your love pool that you want to let even some more energy move up your body, just go ahead and respond to that. And then give some attention to what you're hearing, what you're taking in, what you're hearing, and what you're seeing. And noticing if there's any attention from your love pool that's wanting to be given to your ears. I like to bring it up and actually make little cones here and make a into my ears and feel the reverberation of that. And I'm noticing that I have a little bit of tension around my eyes that I've been so focused on. What is going on that, letting myself receive beauty from what I'm looking at, be looking for beauty rather than looking for what's wrong, letting myself receive the love from my love pool in my eyes. And for me, I can feel that there's a kind of a little light tapping that my eyes would like. Ooh, and that feels really good. It's kind of a like benign strobe where I'm like, oh, yes, I feel you. And also a little tapping around my eyes where, and I can always tell when I've made a shift because I get a bigger breath. So notice if your body is responding by going, and if that's happening, go ahead and let yourself create an sound. So you're taking in, and you're bringing up and sending out. So you're adding now the loop of awareness. So that loving juiciness that you're feeling, you can let that ripple out into the world. And let yourself think of someone that you'd like to give loving attention to. They may not even be in the room. I'm thinking of our dear friend Meinrad, who is recovering from some successful surgery, which is so wonderful. So let yourself feel first full of love for you, and then send it out to someone that you would like to connect with. And let that land, because our love can travel over time and space. It's not limited by time and space. And I find that the more I give and receive, the more there is to share. So that's what I want to invite you into this week is letting yourself abundantly fill your love pool and let that fill up the roots. We're finally getting rain here. So we're actually, the last rain we got just disappeared into the ground. We got 3 inches and it just went because we had no rain last year, basically. So if there's any part of you that's feeling parched, remember to fill your own reservoir first, and then the overflow can be shared abundantly with others. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. Oh, and we wanted to mention another nutrient to you that has just come out. It's a documentary of an activist artist called JR, and it's called Paper and Glue. And what he does, I actually feel very touched by this. He's gone into all of these different environments where there's been conflict, where there's been division, and he's used art to create connection. And it's just the most inspiring, wonderful documentary. So I invite you to use that also as a way to fill your reservoir over this holiday period. And I look forward to seeing you next week. And we have the name of that in the chat if you've missed it. So much love to you, and thank you for being here with me today. And I will see you next time.